Hello guys, most welcome in the UPSC Welfare channel. As we know that we are trying to complete sequence wise of the English comprehension as well as the general comprehension of from 2011 to 2018. So these comprehensions has been asked in 2017 by UPSC. Let's start. See first, direction for the following 7 items. Read the following the 7 passages and answer the items that follow. The passage, your answer to these items should be based on the passage only. So no need to reflect your intelligence in the passage. Now let's start first. First passage, see my dear, as we know that firstly we will go through the carefully the passage, then we will try to understand very well, then we will try to reply the answer according to the queries which has been asked according to us on the basis of the passage. So let's start guys. See, an air quality index AQI is the way to combine the measurement of the multiple air pollutant into the single number or rating. This index is ideally kept constantly updated and available in different places. AQI is the most useful when lots of pollution lots of pollution data are being gathered and when the pollution level are normally but not always low. In such case, if the pollution level spike for a few days, alright, the public can quickly take preventive actions like the staying indoor, of course, in the response to an air quality warning. So unfortunately, that is not urban India. Pollution level in many large Indian cities are so high that they remain well above any health or regulatory standard for large part of the year. So one point should be noticed here, so high that they remain well above any health regulatory standard for large part of the year. For our index, stay in the red and dangerous region day after day. There isn't much any one they can do or other than getting used to ignore it. Means they don't have any kind of the strategy options, of course, the choice to solve that problem rather than ignoring it. So definitely always getting used to ignore it. So they don't have the proper solutions on the basis of AQI that they can of course get information whatever they can get a data to the resolve of the air quality problem. So here still of course the writer is the confused, they don't have the proper solution of that. So conception according to the comprehensions, it's easy to confine that. Still of course there is a conflict. Thus what will be proper resolution and it's not the mention according to the data, so they don't have any kind of the option except ignoring it. So my dear, here question is asking that which one of the following is the most logical and rational inference that can be made from the passage. So one of the government are not responsible enough to keep our large cities pollution free. Wrong, absolutely. It's not mentioned, my dear, in the comprehension. See, there is absolutely no need for air quality index, indices in our country. How can I get information that so it's of course we have the required, but absolutely there is no need. So my dear, see, on the basis of air quality index, our writer clearly mentioned that they don't have the choice except ignoring of that, because on the basis of that we cannot. So here there is no absolutely such kind of the word absolutely, completely. This word is utilized in the comprehension, always is going to be wrong, 95%. So here we have to go for that B is also wrong. Why? Because there is absolutely no need. No, there is a required. How can I know that is air is polluted or not? On the basis of that we are going to define, and after getting information, then we know that we don't have the proper solution resolution in the larger cities, then yes, start to ignore it. Last, C, air quality index is not helpful to resident of many of large cities. Yes, so C will be appropriate answer. In every city, the public awareness but a pollution problem should increase. No, that hasn't been mentioned by authors. So we will ignore it and we will go for C is going to appropriate answer here. All right. Let's next passage. Next passage is here that productive job are the vital for growth, and good job is best from of the inclusion. More than half of the upper population depend on agriculture, but experiences of other countries suggest that the number of the people depend on agriculture will have to shrink if the per capita income in agriculture are to go up substantially. While the industry is creating jobs, too many such a job are low productivity, non-contractual job in unorganized sector and offering low income, little protection, yes, and no benefit service job are relatively of high productivity, but employment growth in the service has been slow in the recent years. So my dears, which one of the following is going to be the most is logical and rational inference? That's kind of matter from some of the passage that we must create the condition for the faster growth of the highly productivity service to ensure the employment and growth and inclusion. Yeah, my dear, is it mentioned in the comprehension that B can be? Thus, we must shift from the former worker to the highly productivity and manufacturing and the service sector to the ensure there is economic growth and inclusion. So see, agriculture, productivity, manufacturing and service sector to the ensure the economic growth and inclusion, we must shift from, no, as we know that 75% of the population is still they are on a yes, involved in the agriculture area. So directly we cannot, of course, the shift yes worker to and the highly productive manufacturing sector. So B cannot be possible here. As we know, third, according to other comprehension, as we know, C, we must create the condition for the faster growth of the productivity job outside of the agriculture, even though while improving the productivity of the agriculture. No, this cannot be. As we must emphasize on the cultivation of high-yielding. This is absolutely incorrect, my dear. High-yielding of the breeds that hasn't been mentioned. So that we have the only choice. B must create a condition for the faster growth of highly productivity service job to ensure the employment and growth. Yes, inclusion, because it has been yes mentioned here. See, relatively high productivity but employment growth in service has been slow in the recent years. So we have to here give the efficiency, definitely. Yes, job to be ensure the growth and inclusion. So 22, of course, I can see that there shouldn't be any doubt that it's going to be a yes, A is going to be the correct. So why is that? Because see, the clear conception that we must create the condition for the faster growth of the highly productivity and service job to ensure, of course, employment growth and inclusion. Our writer is trying to focus on this, of course, also. So 22 is going to be a here. A will be correct, my dears. No doubt. There shouldn't be doubt of. Now, let's see third comprehensions. Alright, third comprehensions. Let's see third comprehension. See, landscape. A landscape approach to a land use can increase the greater biodiversity outside the protected area during hurricane myths. See, myths in, as we know, 1998, the farms using eco-agriculture, the practice suffer 58% is to 70% is yes, and 90% is less damage. In yes, Honduras, as we know, Nicaragua and yes, Guatemala, respectively, that the farms using conventional teaching in the Costa Rica vegetative and windbreak and yes, fans. As we know, fans rows boosted the farmer income from the pasture and yes, the coffee, while also the increase in the biodiversity. The pollution is more effective when the agriculture fields are closer to the natural and semi-natural habitat. The finding that the matter because 80% of the total yes, 80% of the world 107 leading the crops depend on the is animal pollinator in Costa Rica, Nicaragua and yes, Colombia. Silvosa storal a system that, as we know, integratory with yes, pastoral land are improving and ameliorating, reforming the substantiability of the cattle. As we know, cattle, guy, bass, this all is going to the categorize here as the cattle of India. So see, the cattle where I was, yes, substantially of the cattle production and yes, diversifying and increasing farmer income. So their question, see, most logical and rational inference that can be made from the above passage. What other writer is trying to say that? Yes, our writer is trying to say that agricultural practice should be increased, but biodiversity can, yes, often increase the farm output and reduce vulnerability to a disaster simply. So here, see, what option will be appropriate here? Let's see. All the countries of the world should be encouraged to replace yes, agriculture with yes, conventional method. No, we cannot say, as we know that yes, encourage that eco-agriculture with conventional method, because sometimes, as we know, conventional method is not appropriate, and there that's a country has to, of course, go for food security. So at that condition, that cannot be poor country, of course, follow the such kind of the, of course, steps, yeah, the protocols, because they have to secure their food security in the country. And one thing is more that is without using of the biopesticide, without using of that synthetic the pesticide, then definitely the chemical pesticide, so definitely that is not going to be in the practice of the agriculture. So at that condition, how can I? So definitely, and all word has been here, all the country, this is not approximately I'm the 85% is will be wrong. This is the questions my dear. Is agriculture should be permitted in the protected area without destroying the diversity there? No, that cannot be mentioned in the comprehension. The yield of the food, the crops will be very high. Is agriculture the practice are they adopted to the culture? No, that cannot be. So only we have the choice of the A, that is agricultural practice that enhance here the increase, of course, yes, grade A, of course, that should be created the biodiversity can often increase the farm output and reduce the vulnerability to disaster. Of course, my dear, if you the planning is to, of course, reduce the vulnerability to disaster, then definitely you have to promote agriculture. That has been the mention, but this is not a mandatory, yes, on the all the country of the world, because according to the writer, our is giving the few countries the example of there. So definitely 33 will be here. A will be answer of this comprehension. Fourth, let's see. Medium-term challenge for Indian manufacturing is to move from low to yes higher tech sector, from low to higher value added sector, and from low to higher the productivity sector, and the medium the tech industry are the primarily the capital intensive and resources processing high tech industry are the mainly is capital and technology intensive is in order to the push the share of the manufacturing in overall GDP to be projected. Yes, 25% is the Indian manufacturing need to ensure the global the market. 25% is 25% is yes Indian manufacturing need to capture the global market in the sector showing the rising trend in demand, and these sectors are largely high technology and capital intensive. So which one can be correct here? See, now see here the question is asking that yes which one of the following is going to be a most logical and rational. See, rational inference that can be made from the passage especially. So as we know here the first option just saying that India's GDP always GDP display the high value added and the high productivity level in the medium tech and the resources of the processing industry. Of course, as we know that medium tech and the resources, high productivity level in the medium tech and the resources of the processing industry. Of course, that has been clearly mentioned in the comprehension. So it will be apt, yes. And so why not be the promotion of the capital and technology intensive manufacturing is not the possible in India? No, it can be possible, my dear. But according to yes, the comprehension, this hasn't been the mention as we know. So definitely it will be incorrect. And yes, India should the push option the public investment and encourage the private investment in the research, development and technology and upgradation and skill development. That also hasn't been done. In this comprehension, not India has already gained the great share of the share in the global the market in the sector showing the rising tend to demand. That hasn't been mentioned. So definitely we will go for here A. Now next. Over the last decade, the Indian agriculture has become more robust. Yes, with record the production, is the production of the food gains and the welfare the increase procurement consequently has added the user stock of the food gains in its grainage, and the India is, as we know, the India is one of the top the producer of rice, wheat, milk, fruits and vegetables. Still India is the home to the quarter of the all undernourished yes people in the world. So it's really simple, so my dear, that we are still unable to do the processing of the food as well as the efficiency in the farming sector. So my dears, that the conception of this is going to be totally clear. That's what the writer wants. No need to study the whole. Now see which one of the following is the most the corollary is logic corollaries to the passage. Increasing the efficiency of the farm to the focus on the value chain is necessary to reduce the poverty and the malnutrition. This can be, do you think? Let's firstly be increasing the agricultural productivity will automatically eliminate the poverty. No, that cannot be, because it hasn't clearly mentioned that India is largest producer top country, as we know that rice, wheat, but however still the quarter of the quarter people quarters of the people of the country is still, of course, they have been suffering from the malnutrition. So be absolutely incorrect, my dears. India is, of course, India agricultural product is already created. It's not necessary to increase the first. No, that can be, because we have to do the improvement. Of course, go for the sustainable development. Not only that, we have done the green revolution. So we will have if you the target of 2015, then definitely more than 2 billion of population will be in the India, and the resources will be same. So definitely we have to go for the food security anyhow. Allocation of the more funds in the social welfare and the poverty alleviation. The program will ultimately, yes, eliminate the poverty and malnutrition. That is not the mention, my dear. Top. So what is going to be? We have to make the efficiency of the food processing as well as increasing the efficiency in the farm to the fox the value channels necessary to reduce the poverty and malnutrition. It will be of course, my dear, absolutely correct. Now, next, see. Next, the comprehension. See, it's very easy that the states are like pearls. Pearls means moti, as we know, and the center is a thread which turn into a necklace. A thread means dhaga, which turn into the necklace. Necklace, you know, that's hard. So if the thread snaps, the pearls will be scattered. Of course, definitely your pearls moti bikhar jayegi definitely when thread snaps. So in that condition, what is going to be the reflection here, my dears? Yes, which one of the following is the views corroborate the above passes? Definitely, a strong center is the binding the force for the, yes, national integrity is absolutely correct. No need to, of course. A strong center is the binding the force for national integrity. Why it is show the, my dears? Because you know that's the Blue Star operation as in 1984 that of course on a golden temples in Amritsar, as we know that say, and finally Indira Gandhi has given the statement, and that's for national unity and integrity the purpose, and I decided to go for the operation option that. So as we know, of course, definitely here we see that especially 3D snap the pearls are scattered in the water. Definitely, of course, the strong center is the binding the force for national integrity. Now, see, it's a English comprehension that really I think that the poorest, that's his poorest, he that is in England has a life to live, as are the greatest he, and therefore the truly I think it is clear that every man that is to live under the government out, yes, the first by his own consent to put himself under the government. So yes, it reflects the the put himself under the government means of course he will do anything. So definitely with the consenting of the government. So I do think that the poorest man in the England is not at all the bound in strict sense to the government, that he hasn't. He has had the voice to put himself under. So definitely rule according to the consent of the government, and that will be of course absolutely clear of the consumption of this comprehension. 27 is going to be a B dear. There shouldn't be doubt, my dears. If you don't understand, do a study 1 to 2 times, read the comprehensions. Definitely that will be easy. Of course, it has been declared the mention, the conception of this comprehension. So let's further comprehensions. See, further seven comprehension will be, 7 question will be from the comprehension. How the passage will be, and 7 passages will be also there. So on the basis of that only we have to. So see, we have the hard work in the head. There is no resting for us. Yes, for see, there is no resting for any of us till yes, the rhythm hour plays in full till we make all the people of India what destiny intend them to be. We are citizen of the great country. There shouldn't be doubt, my dear, if we are a UPSC aspirant. Definitely my country is the great here. So as we know, B, make all the people of India what destiny intend here. See, what destiny intend to be. We are citizen of the great country. As we know, we are the largest democratic country in the world on the average of the bold advance, and we have to live up to a higher standard. All of us, as we know that still we don't have the high quality index, higher standard living quality index, but of course we try and if we will be able to change the societal behavior as we know at the grassroots, definitely one day we will have. So we have to keep such a dream and then proceed here, of course. Proceed to, as we know, come true your dream. So definitely here, see, live up to that in the highest standard, all of us, to the whatever religion we may belong are equally the children of India with equal right, privilege and obligation. We cannot encourage the communalism and narrow-mindedness, of course, for no nation can be correct whose the people are narrow in thought of the action. Definitely, my dear, so we have to the assess at the grassroots level to change the behavior of the people. There shouldn't be narrow-minded and the thought and the action in activity of the people. So definitely, if they are going to be optimistic, definitely the reform will bring. As we know that these all views will come. Yeah, you will get, as we know that from the society. So you have to, yes, reform the society. A societal reform is very important here. So see, the challenge of the truth that the passes through to the public is to as a what should be hard work and the brotherhood and national unity. Do you think so that highest standard of living the process than privilege? No. Capital the privilege fulfillment of the destiny and the political tolerance. A spirit of the adventure and the economy. But priority, no. She cannot be here, my dear. Absolutely wrong. And yes, equal privilege, fulfillment of the destiny and political tolerance, that can be absolutely 100%. If you 90% is giving the credit, that can be also hard worker brotherhood and national unity, that can be. But here our writers are talking fundamental right also. So equal privilege, fulfillment of destiny and political tolerance, that can be also. There shouldn't be any kind of the intolerance in the politics also. So we will here the choose. And according to as we know that UPSC the key, of course it has been given that B is going to be correct. Now see, next the individual according to yes Rossio put his the person and all his the power in the common and the supreme direction of the general will, and in our cooperative capacity we receive each member is as an indivisible and the part of the whole. What can be best described, my dearest, that is the talking that nature of the general will. So as we know, some of the total of the private wills of the individual, definitely there shouldn't be any doubt to the my dearest that some of the private, as we know, some of the private is total of the private will of the individuals, because what is articulated by the elected representative of the individual, that is not the mention here. The collective goods and distinct from the private will of the individual, no, that hasn't been absolutely mentioned. And yes, material interest of the community, that is not going to the mention. So only we have the choice. Of course we will have to understand too, we will have to understand the as we it's not the mention, but we don't have the other choice to the choose option here. So definitely we will go for air, because yes, the conception is saying, or according to us the passage has been given here, that definitely some total of the private wills of the individual is going to. Now in a democratic state, yes, where the high degree of the political maturity of the people of strength in the conflict between the will of the sovereign law and making body and unorganized will of the people seldom occurs, which can be. In a democracy, the force is the man phenomena in actual exercise of sovereignty. No, what do we mean by the democracy? If you know that a democracy is a public body, so there shouldn't be any doubt that in the mature democracy, the force is narrowed down to the marginal phenomenon in the actual exercise of the sovereignty. This can be, let's see, be firstly, in the mature democracy, the force to be the great extent is in the man phenomena of the actual exercise. No, that is not a sovereignty. In the mature democracy, the use of the force is irrelevant in the actual exercise. No, marginalized, of course. We have to uplift man, we have to uplift of the marginal phenomenon in the actual exercise of the sovereignty. Definitely, my dear. So it has been clearly mentioned in the comprehensions in the democracy. This is the comprehension. See that will of the sovereign laws, the making the body and yes, organize the will of the yes, people seldom occurs high degree. See the reminder that. So definitely the conception is the clear here. Then the mass of democracy force is narrowed down to marginal phenomena in the actual exercise of the sovereignty. That can be correct. So there shouldn't be any doubters in that. Now next. This is the comprehension. See, a successful democracy depends upon the widespread interest in the interest and the participation in the politics. Yes, in ways the voting is and the essential the part. Remind you that it has been clear here. In ways, voting is essential, is a mandatory part, of course, to deliberately refrain from talking, says, and the interest and from the voting is the kind of the implied anarchy. Definitely, it is to refuse the ones in the political responsibility while enjoying the benefit of a free political society. So, there shouldn't be any doubt that duty to vote talking, of course. Duty to vote, that's you, of course, in which the voting is essential. Why the voting is essential? To deliberately means John Busker refrain from the talking, refrain from, as we know, refrain from taking such an interest, and from the voting is the kind of the implied anarchy. So definitely duty to vote, we will go here option. No need to right to vote, that is not talking about, and freedom to vote, that also hasn't been mentioned. So only A is going to be here. We have the choice. And the free country of the man who reached the position of the leader is he is usually one of the outstanding the character and ability. Moreover, it is usually possible to foresee that he will reach such as the position since early in a life. One can see his qualities of the character, but this is not always true in the case of the detractor. Of course, often he reaches the position of the power through chance, very often through an unhappy state of his country. Definitely, my dears, that's if you don't know the character of the people, and certainly, I mean, they, as we know that what they have acquired the power. Yeah, I'm the one acquired the power. So definitely, for the time, once when he get to the good time, definitely disappear in the country sometimes. Let's say to other dictatorship. No doubt here it has been clearly mentioned in the comprehension. If you go through 1 to 2 times reading of that, and definitely see, because that if the people who is not awareness, who is not that continuously in the society, so you won't be able to understand what the character and the thought of that's the person. So definitely in course of time, anyone who got in the power, the powerized certainly by a chance, so definitely it will disappear in the country sometimes and lead to a dictatorship. So there shouldn't be there shouldn't be any other option except the D is going to be the correct. No need to study, go through the comprehension. That's why it shows because the leadership force in the nature position, that hasn't been mentioned, of course, and the leader is chosen only by the free country. No, that is not the mention. Leader must see that as the country is free from disagree. No, that is also not the mention. So D is going to be correct there. Now the greatest and the blessing that a technological progress has in the store for the mankind is not, of course, and the accumulation of the material is material possession, that is your wealth. The amount of this that can be effectively enjoyed by one individual in the one lifetime is not a great. Yes, lifetime is not great, but there is not in the same the narrow limit to possibilities of the enjoyment of leisure. Yeah. So the gift of leisure may be abused by the people who have had no experience of making use of it. Definitely, my dears, it's up to yes, you does how you utilizing of leisure time, my dears. So, see, our writer is further saying that yet the creative use of leisure by yes minority in societies has been yes mainstream of all the human is the progress beyond the primitive level. So some of the people, thus leisure when they are leisure, they utilize their time for the society welfare by making a such, thus by making a such I mean things that is going to be that's a proof for the societal welfare as well as the nation building. Definitely. So it's up to you that our writers are trying to convince that how you utilizing your leisure time. Some also start to that's again positions. So it's up to you, my dear. So now the conception is clear here. What writer is with reference to the passage the follow in assumption have the matter that the people yes, so always see the leisure time as the gift and use it for acquiring yes more material possession. See, that is not our writer is the saying the use of the leisure by yes some people to yes the produce new and original thing has been yes chief source of the human progress. So definitely B will be here the correct. Yes, 46 is going to be a B. Why it is shows? Because as we know this shouldn't be doubt, my dear. B. Next, proceed. I'm sorry for delay. Now see 7 number. See, there is more than the modicum of the truth in the assertion that the working knowledge of the ancient history is necessary to the intelligent interpretation of the current event. Why? So let me inform the one thing to the mind. Why we are trying to study medieval history, modern history, ancient history? Yes, it's mandatory, and if you don't have knowledge of the history for the civil service, of course you won't be able to qualify. So as we know that, my dear, why? Here our writer is saying so that's why we do a study of the history. If the planning to be a leader, then you need to, of course. Why it is so? Because see, but the same now see. As we know, ancient history is necessary to the intelligent interpretation of the current event. Means, yes, any kind of the circumstances in a present time, according to, the people interpretation, according to your history, ancient history, and then we will take the decision. So, I mean here, we will make the decision. So, but the says who uttered this, the word of the wisdom, the mighty dwell, and we have added the something on the benefit of this turning the particularly to be is the famous the battle of the history for the lesson the content for those who as we know that who lead to aspire to be a leadership such as study will yes reveal the content the qualities and attributed yes the ways enable the winner to win and the certain. So definitely, my dears, there shouldn't be doubt of in the comprehensions that yes, if you have, of course, if you are aspiring to be a leader, so at that condition, of course, you have to know the ancient history. According to the writer, I am not the same, because see here, deficiency is the cause, loser to other laws, and a student will see that and the same the pattern is and the recurs the constantly they again and again talk out in the center. So with reference to the passage, they haven't mentioned that in the study of the famous the battle of the history is wouldn't help them understand the modern warfare. No. That is not the answer, but studying the history is the essential for anyone who aspires to win it. No doubt there. So definitely we will have the correction here, my dear. Now, further comprehensions in this. No, next. Further comprehension, see, we have the 8 questions and 8 passages also, my dear. So see, what the climate change will undeniably do is the cause or the amplify the event, and thus in the hasten the, as we know, the reduction of the resources and the competitions over these. Yes, diminishing the resources would, as we know, ensue in the form of the political or even the violent the conflict the resources. Best the conflict and have largely been avoided or are this difficult to isolate. Instead, they tack on the need to that they appear more politically palatable conflict over the resources like yes, water the often clocked in the yes, the question of the identity or ideology. Definitely, my dear. No, there's that's see, I'm the conflict of the BJP between between the BJP and the Congress. That's Kavri disputed as well as the Mahanadi disputed between the Chhattisgarh and Odisha and the Kavri Tamil Nadu and Karnataka and Kerala and the South State Sea. So definitely their political involvement also they decide to that they try to also go for populism by the rising of the such kind of the disputes. So this is a natural resources, but however especially they also target of the water disputes, that's agriculture disputed. So they shouldn't be involved in there because they are the natural the problem, but however they as we know the clocked in the guise of the identity and the ideology and try to make especially their existence by a leader. So what our author is saying, asking, what does the above passage imply? Resources based on the conflict are always politically motivated. That's fine, but see, there is no the political solutions to the resolve with the environmental and the resources that's the conflict. Environment issue contribute to the resources, the stress and the political conflict. Yes, political conflict based on identity, as we know, and ideology. See, I'm sorry for delay, dear. See, here shouldn't be doubted that 61 question number, that what does the above passage imply? The resource the best and the conflict are always politically motivated. That is not the mention. We will cut here. Yes, and there is no the political solution. Resolve the environmental and the resource the best the conflict. So environmental issue they contribute to the resource the stress and the political conflict. They of course definitely will be the see here the answers in that. So now these all are here. Sorry, let's see the finish of this passage also. The man who is a perpetual hesitating and based on the two things, yes, he will do first and will do neither. The man who resolve but suffer his Resolutions to be the changed by the first the counter the suggestion of the friend who fluctuate the from the opinion to opinion. See here. Yes, the beat the from the plan to the plan, the can never accomplish the anything, the hebel. At the best the be stationary and the probably the retrograde in all. It is the only is the damsel to the first and the consult of the wisely than the result of the family. Family is going to be means that strongly and then as an execute. Is execute means the proceed is the purpose of it as we know. Inflexible is perseverance means कोशिश कोशिश करते रहना. That is going to be when that the props is also there that there is a victory behind perseverance. So the one thing is here that the perseverance is undismayed by especially undismayed by those the petty difficulty in base here see yes in base down to the weaker the spirit that can use advance to eminence in any line. So what is going to be the reflection there the question. So definitely there shouldn't be doubts in that. See the keynote this seems to be the emerging the from the passage is that we should first the consult the wisely then resolve in the family. We should the reject and the suggesting of the friend and the no. Sometimes you will have no idea, but you're the friend, yeah, as when that's member of the relative, they will give you such an idea that will be really the suitable and making efficiency decision for your any kind of the crisis, yeah, the phenomenon. So definitely we cannot. So these are totally wrong here, my dear, no doubt. And we should always remain on the board-minded. No, that is not going to be because sometimes much knowledge is also dangerous thing. So we should, of course, we have to make the balance. We should be with result and achievement oriented. No, that is not going to be always. Sometimes always achievement oriented is not is going to be good for that sustainable development and the sustainable goal. So my dear, here we have the only one the choice was that we should first consult the wisely then solve the family. Of course, wasn't it? Definitely you will have no doubt about that. Now let's see. During the summer in the Arctic, the ocean, sea, yes, there has been the melting earlier, the faster, the winter, the freeze that has been coming the later in the last 3 decades. The extent of the summer has been declined about 30%. Lengthening the period of the summer, the melt threatened to undermine the whole Arctic food web and atop the west stand a polar bear. So as been in the Arctic areas and the Antarctic area, there is a polar, of course, there is a polar bear. Bear, as we know that, bhalu, and the polar means, of course, in the ice areas, mein rehne wala bhalu. So definitely polar bear, due to the climate impactions, yes, as we know, the changing of the climate, the impact there, and it has been clearly mentioned that declining the 30%. So ice has been declining. So they will have the problem in the in their habitat. So here conception clear. No, there shouldn't be doubt. The crucial message that we have to choose only. So climate change has accused the Arctic summers to be the short, but temperatures to be the high. No, that is not the mention here. Yes, the polar bear can be the shifted to the south pole to the so that is not going to be the mention here. Without the presence of the polar bear from the food chain in the Arctic region will receive him. That is not also the mention. So we have the choice only. The climate change pose to threat to the survival of the polar bear. Definitely is going to be absolutely correct. So D is going to be confined here. So thank you guys in this video tutorial. Next 2 to 3 comprehension is remained. So I will talk in the next video tutorial. Thank you very much. And one thing, remind us, my dears, if really this video is helpful for your the preparation and the building of the confidence, how we will attempt as in that English comprehension, please subscribe to my channel and like and give the comment, especially below the comment box, so that I will be inspired by that's reading your and subscribing. That's definitely that will assist to grow up the channel and to make the more and the more video that's yes, that's maybe helpful for us to, yes, achieve our the goals. So thank you guys, have a great time.